sigh of relief, like, oh, we're all in here.
Well,
Woo!
Here we go.
hey, oh, we're already on, dude. So it's all
Let's start
good.
over. Let's start a new hangout.
Mulligan, wish you mulligan this one. I thought we were going to start every episode with "Fuck, are we live?"
Live from the planet Earth.
Live. It's Heretical Weekends number 32. And by the way, before I get started, I forgot to say "fuck Arcane Logos" last show.
Oh
So
boy.
there will be a double fucking of the Arcane Logos, just like he experienced in prison. So
Oh boy.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, hey, good morning, everybody. It's
Morning.
Sunday, May 15th. How are you guys doing?
Afternoon.
Actually, yeah, it's afternoon for us, but
Oh,
whatever.
that's right. You guys live over there on the other side.
Well, isn't it noon by you now, anyway?
Yeah.
So it's not morning by you either. So
You
come
know,
on, man.
we wake up late in California, dude. You know that. Well, anyway, everybody, welcome to Heretical Weekends number 32. This is going to be sort of an interesting show, I think, because we got several topics, and we had some Google Plus difficulties, which, nobody should be a stranger to at this point, so we had to restart the room, and I apologize, but, consider we never actually start on time to begin with. That's pretty fucking good for us. So, there you go. But anyway, so what do we got on the plate today? We got a little is that a creationist video? What do you call that video? But the guy with the fossils, Gabby. As I'm going through the topic here.
He's a creationist, anti-evolutionist.
Yeah, that's a better description. So we got an anti-evolutionist fucktard, basically, showing how on a PBS documentary they disproved evolution or showed it to be flawed, I guess, or manipulated.
Well, the way I came across this video was I'd been in a conversation about evolution with some Christian kind of evolution naysayers, and this person, Joyce Believes in Jesus, is her.
Oh, I've seen her.
Her handle, yeah. She seems nice, but she really, like, she will latch on to absolutely anything that she thinks discredits evolution or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, she's even thrown stuff at me about how there never were any dinosaurs, and all of the dinosaur fossils are and not even the whacked out goofball Ken Hams and Panthovens will go that far, to say that there were no dinosaurs. They just think that dinosaurs and humans coexisted, which is
like
silly.
don't they have in whoever has the Creation Museum like exhibit of like a dinosaur and a human together?
Yeah,
that's Ken Hams.
Yeah,
that's the.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will be dinosaurs on the Ark thing somehow. But
So we got that. Let me run through the rest of these real quick because I'm dying to get into some of this stuff. What else did you post? Oh, so in local news, for some people, there was a pastor that was caught sexually assaulting some female teens in his congregation. However, I believe the interest in this article was from the comments section and some of the posts people made, right?
Well, yeah, both. I mean, the story itself is not. It's pretty commonplace, but
Tragically.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, as I looked at the article, looking down at the comment section, kind of actually was a bit of a surprise for me.
Gotcha.
Oh shoot, I can't access the article online, so I hope you guys can.
I already have it up, so I'll screen share it.
Yeah, my internet's a little goofy.
So, right, well, welcome to my world. I know this is a pretty serious topic, so I'm not sure if I have a chance to get into it in depth, but most of my G Plus has been filled with transgender articles. especially the article regarding Obama's issuance of a guidance to allow kids or schools to not discriminate against people's gender identity as far as going to the bathroom. And I think it's North Carolina. Is it North Carolina that's taking a stance against it? Yeah. So there's that whole mess. And last but not least, there has to be at least a minor fuck you to Gava Guy, because he posted this video of these kids rapping about Christian side hugging, and I've currently had that song stuck in my head for about 5 days. And I am literally driving to fucking work singing that, giving a Christian side hug. I got the video. If we have time, we can touch upon it. But I'm literally, as I'm creating the room this morning, I'm singing that song to myself. I even went as far as looking up the lyrics just to make sure I've got the lyrics right, because I didn't want to mess that up.
Right.
I didn't want to. I wanted to do the song justice.
Give me that Christian side hug.
Oh God, dude, fuck me, dude. It woke it out of my head. Fucking horrible. It's like fucking herpes, dude. I thought I'd get rid of it, and I'm driving somewhere, and I'll just start singing it to myself again. It just keeps coming back.
It's catchy.
It is very catchy. It's actually it's actually catchier to everyone else, except they're horrible. Like, they're not even a rap group. I got some info on that song, by the way, and the whole
Maybe we should start there.
Yeah.
You want to start there? It's up to you guys. Okay, we can start.
Might as well.
We need some Christian side hug penicillin
Oh God,
to get it out of our heads.
All right, so I'm going to screen share this a little bit, right, so you guys know what I'm talking about.
Don't have to show the whole thing, but...
Yeah, this video actually has the lyrics at the bottom of it, so you can sort of see you can see what they're saying. But I want to save the... Right, hold on a second. It's been a while. Leave me alone.
Come on, give us that Christian side hug.
You know, on the Google Hangout, the share screen, there's 3 options, but the 2 on the right are blacked out.
Well,
this one will only show. This will only show my entire screen. So.
Yeah, you had that problem last time too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It works.
Well, then you get to see my whole screen. That ain't cool. All right. Okay. Who cares? Whee! Okay. Are you ready, guys? Get ready to fucking get your pimp on. So pay attention, it's essential. This ain't no front hug zone, you ain't got flying, don't stop. And listen, no front hugs and no kissing. I hate that shit, you call your mom when you'll be riding home in the car. I got my phone, you ain't got nothing. Oh, follow these rules, yeah, cause being bluffing now. You ain't no rabbi, you ain't no priest, so rise up off me like the shoulder with no peace. Now, he's that front hug boy, and this is not good. That's inappropriate. You got to offer because we want to keep our mind pure, want to keep away from sin. That means it's you too, girl. All people all around you. Oh wait, they hit the chorus. Okay, so the guy's like, enough with the chorus already. I fucking hate that song.
I don't know why. It's good stuff.
There's a couple of like pretty telling lyrics. You know, it's kind of funny. I didn't get to the best part where it says, fucking, where is it? I'm looking it up right now. He's like, there's some lyrics that don't make any sense to me. He says, I'm going global because you don't know me. I'm buying babies like Angelina Jolie. The fuck does that even mean?
I don't know, but, you know, pop culture reference, I guess.
And then it says, so quit that hugging and slow down, mama, and hit my fist like President Obama. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Terrorist fist jab.
And some other notable lyrics. It says, some of y'all is slick. Try to pull this trick. Your hug starts in the side, but soon it turns the chick. So if you
Huh?
end up here, then go ahead and scream it. When I hug people, I leave room for the Holy Spirit.
So, so the whole idea of this thing is to avoid as much physical contact so you can stay holy and avoid any kind of like sexual arousal or as little contact as possible when trying to show affection for somebody, I guess.
Yeah, but don't they understand that, like, for example, there have been times I think all of us have been in some sort of like fucking drought sexually. I imagine at some point in our lives, right? Whether you're a teenager or whatever. And it only takes a hot chick to be within like a foot of my vicinity before my fucking feelers go up to like level 10. It's like, oh shit, she's next to me. She brushed my arm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the idea that you're barely touching somebody to me would almost make it worse. But I gotta say, as a young gentleman, there are girls that you hug, that you don't have any interest in because you probably don't find them attractive. But for every other girl that you hug, right? In my head, I'm like, well, I mean, how do you feel the titties if you don't hug them? But that's just me. I mean, that was me. That was my thought process long ago. Long ago.
How awkward would it be, if you're greeting someone and you're facing them head on, and as you approach them, you're gonna turn to the side and like dodge the full on front hug like a normal person, and wrap your arm around their shoulder like your buddies at a baseball game or something. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, it's also weird too, I think, because if you think of, I mean, the context is obviously meant to be like a male and female, like that's the idea, but like, are males like who are like, oh, I haven't seen you in a long time, let me give you a hug? Are they also side hugging too? Because that seems weird. If I mean, not that it isn't weird otherwise, but it
What do
seems
you do to
like
your
this.
like relatives though? What if like a hug like your aunt? Do you also side hug them so just in case you don't feel some aunt booby?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing is like there's this implication that like all like normal hugs have some kind of sexual arousal to them, and it's like that's not the case in most cases. I mean, hugs are about as
Unless you're me.
well, they're still, no matter what, I think they're still low, about as low on the totem pole as any kind of physical contact can get.
Right. But I'm looking at these guys and I'm just being as realistic as I can. These are young guys, right, in their late teens, early 20s. And I remember when I was at that age, it didn't take fucking much. You know what I mean? Like, there's no hugging side, front, or otherwise. I mean, it's hard to get that. I think that sort of instinctual male sort of idea. You know what I mean? Like, because if a girl's coming toward me with her arms open and I go for the side hug, as a male, I've already looked at her. Or you know what I mean? Not even in like a deviant kind of way. Just as a guy, you sort of notice shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think we went over this a long time ago, but like as far as like breasts go, for example, and I explained this to my ex-girlfriend, if you're driving down the street with your wife or your ex, right? No matter if the boobies are nice or they're like not nice, as a guy, even though you don't look, you just kind of notice. You know what I mean? There's something in your hand to go, oh, boobs. At least for me, like I can't imagine at that age having to try to turn that off.
Well, the whole thing is purely about an attempt to suppress any kind of arousal or desire or whatever. But I think it ultimately would have the opposite effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I mean, that's my point. I mean,
Yeah.
just what actually helped me get past all that is the more chicks you did hug. You know what I mean? Like the less special it got after a while.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Well, and just, a release every once in a while too is also, whether it's masturbation or having a partner that you're engaged with and actually sexually active with. If you don't have that, you're obsessed about it, and you might be trying to avoid thinking about it, but being obsessed about not thinking about it is not going to help you.
That's my point. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's ultimately they can say all they want, but I mean, at the end of the day, I know where their brain is at least partially.
yeah.
Let me be the miscreant in this group and just just good luck,
Well,
guys.
I think you have a similar effect probably in Islam too, where when you mask your women's faces all the time, yeah, seeing a woman unmasked would probably increase your arousal and desire just because of the scenario that you've created by doing that. It's like the more you try and bury that stuff, the more impact it's going to have on you.
Now, here's an interesting thing about this video because it's been shared a lot. I think it went viral when it came out, but
Yeah, it's been around. It's not
yeah.
new by any means.
So the people that rapped in the video are said to be not a rap group. They're said to be a group of people that are part of that EG youth group that were at that convention, and the song itself was meant to be satirical to how some people, I guess, adherents of the side hug are or whatever. I don't know sure how much I buy that, but the song wasn't meant to be taken seriously. And if you look at the comments on the video, at least the video that I posted, there are some people. There's a guy that claims that he knows these guys, and the whole song was meant to be a joke. But when I did a little research, but Christian side hugs are a thing. I mean, they're an actual thing. So I don't know how much satire it is or how much
Right.
of an inside joke it actually is. It seems to me unnecessarily repressed behavior. Has anybody else gave somebody a side hug because they didn't like, for whatever reason?
It wasn't a thing when I was in the church.
No, that's a relatively new thing, I think.
Yeah.
You know what the sad part is? Is like, when I used to work at night, I used to work at a bar, and as when you work security and stuff like that, and you fight alongside other guys, you sort of develop this sort of band of brothers type attitude. And I got really comfortable. Like, we'd hug each other all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Because we're getting beer bottles thrown at us and that kind of thing. So I got so comfortable with hugging men and women, that sometimes when I hug people, like, I'm a hugger. Like, I don't care. I'm like, come here, come in for the real thing. You know what I mean? Like, like Will Ferrell in fucking what was that movie? Was it Wedding Crashers? And people get really kind of weirded out sometimes, actually, because they're just not used to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, fuck you guys then. Anyway. All right, so any last thoughts on Christian side hugs? I need to get this song out of my fucking life, dude. It's been in my head for so long.
Well, good luck.
Yeah,
listen,
thanks.
Good. Listen to some good metal. That'll clear it out. That's what I
All right.
scrubs it away.
What do you guys want to move on to next? Want to go fossils? Want to go pedophiles?
Let's leave fossils for last because it's I think that'll be the most kind of rich topic.
Okay. You want pedophiles or transgender bathrooms? What do you got? What do you like?
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about the bathrooms. Bathrooms is bigger. Let's do pedophiles first.
This is like the worst game of fucking Jeopardy ever. I'll take pedophiles for 1,000, Alex. All right, so I'll let you take this one away, Gabby, because you posted this one. So.
Okay, yeah, but I can't. The problem is I can't get to the link now. I've got the story up, but it's just the headline. So, a pastor from Avoca, Arkansas, was accused of sexually assaulting multiple teens, their members of their congregation, and So that's as much as I can really give because
All
I
right.
can't get to that link.
Um, let me share it. But in all honesty, that can be the headline for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were talking about this
Oh, there
beforehand,
you go.
just how commonplace this kind of thing has become, unfortunately. But
You know what's funny with Google Plus? The share options are blacked out, but I clicked on it anyway, and look, it worked.
that's weird.
And fuck you, Google Plus. All right, so here's the guy. Not that he doesn't look suspicious or anything. I think everyone kind of looks suspicious in a fucking mugshot or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, if he was in a shirt and tie and
Yeah. As a side note, there was this thing on my Facebook page. Let me tangent here for a second, where a group of photographers, like 10 of them, were taking a picture of the same guy, and they told each photographer he was somebody else. Like one said he told someone he was a CEO. One said he was a reformed felon, and they allowed them to take the pictures. And the photographer's perception of what they were, the guy looked like a different person because they directed him, just based on what their perceptions were. So in a lot of ways, seeing a picture like this is just way misleading. But this guy could possibly very, very well be a shitbag for him. But anyway, okay. So a pastor at an Avoca church was arrested Wednesday in connection with sexual assault of 2 teenage girls in his congregation. This guy was 59 years old. The 2 girls were, the alleged molestation of 2 girls were 15 and 16. One of the girls had claimed in an interview that she was touched inappropriately multiple times in an affidavit, and she told investigators that she had known Lopez since she was 6 and thought of him as a grandfather, which was extra creepy. If you weren't creeped out enough, that was extra creepy.
Yeah.
And Gabby, you mentioned that the comment sections were really interesting. Was there anything in particular that
yeah, well, I was actually surprised at the number of people who seem to have a kind of a secularist perspective. I mean, even from that very first comment there, that bird dog rocks or whatever, bird dogs rock, kind of seems like very sarcastic. Well, at least he wasn't LGBT, like, the church is so concerned about homosexuality and transgender issues, but these kinds of things go on all the time, and and the church is not focused on this and trying to make provide accountability and things to prevent situations like this.
Yeah, and I guess this is kind of a good segue into the into the bathroom thing, but this guy right here that says this Pac-Man is like, how do you know this pervert was a member of the GBLT, what the fuck, alphabet soup of sexual orientation? He might very well currently identify as a woman, unless you're a mind reader. You really don't know. This guy's obviously being a jackass, but at the same time, his fucking comment doesn't even make any sense. Because identify as a woman, so what is he saying? The guy identifies as a woman, but so he's a lesbian in his head? Like, what is he trying to say? And even then, if that's the case, why would that make him a pedophile? Like,
yeah,
fuck doesn't make any sense.
It has no bearing whatsoever on the issue.
Right.
He's just trying to, because and like you were saying, you have a guy. A lot of the other people who are posting, a considerable amount of them are kind of comparing this guy and the real concern of these kinds of things happening with the amount of concern that is being brought up about the LGBT bathroom situation. And so this guy is trying to say, well, maybe he really is part of that problem, so maybe I really am justified in being concerned. Maybe he is part of the LGBT crew. So that he did bad things, I am therefore still justified, even though he has no reason to think that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that is, for the past couple of, I don't know if it's a month or so, whatever, but when all this started happening with the bathrooms and stuff, there have been a few articles released about guys pretending to be women, or you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. But those are still all straight guys being perverts. You know what I mean? Like,
The only
no,
thing The only
no,
things that I've seen, and I haven't kept a real close eye on this, but the things that I've seen have been about like uh, Christian people like trying to push the limit and seeing if anybody will stop them, like from going into women's bathrooms. Like, oh, Target is now allowing that. Well, let me put that to the test and see how ridiculous this is gonna get. But I personally haven't seen anything about an actual LGBT person
No, yeah, and
causing a problem.
my wife has mentioned this. The fact that I know here in the Little Rock area, there was somebody a few months ago, a restaurant worker who had followed a little girl into the bathroom and molested her, sexually assaulted her in the bathroom at a restaurant. Well, he went into the women's restaurant as a man, as a uh, just a regular person, um, and didn't try to disguise himself, didn't do anything, and sexually assaulted this. The issue is not that people can go in there now all of a sudden, and it's not that this guy was a transgender or transsexual person in any way. He was a child predator, and the parents were in a public place and let their kid go into a bathroom unattended, and she became a victim. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible thing, but the issue of whether or not transgender people are allowed in the bathroom or not has no bearing on situations like that. If you let your kid go, there is a potential go to a public restroom and they are not protected by an adult that they can know and trust. Um, there's a possibility, and in fact, even when I say know and that there's someone that they can know and trust, um, it's as likely or more likely that even those people that they know and that they're their parents or family members
Or a
would
priest.
or a priest or a brother in a quiverful family might be molesting them on the sly and right under everybody's noses. So this is not going to exacerbate the situation. We've already kind of jumped to the transgender topic here, so why don't we go ahead and jump all the way in?
well, the Google Plus decided not to work for that sectioned off screenshot, so I apologize for this, but is that better? Is that better? So this came up on. I've seen this picture a lot lately, and it's kind of whatever, haha, whatever. But this kind of stuff has been going on G Plus for a while, and I don't know what as far as the Obama thing going through. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with that, with the North Carolina school versus Obama.
Not really.
Okay. Well, Obama sent out not Obama, I got to stop saying that. So anyway, I guess the Obama administration, they sent out a guidance saying that no discrimination for children that, with gender identity or identify as, a gender other than the one they were born with or anything like that. The schools, are I don't say encouraged, I guess, but it's at the risk of federal funding. So they can't pass it into law because it's a state thing, but they can cut federal funding for schools that don't comply. So I believe North Carolina was one of the schools that was, one of the states that was standing up for an opposition to this. I don't know if you guys think that that's actually a sort of fair stance to take, as far as like from the administration standpoint, as far as kind of in a sense, they are kind of strong-arming their way into, you know what I mean? But I don't know if it's the right, if that method, what they're doing is the right way to do it. But what do you guys think?
I can see kind of both sides. I understand why parents might be worried about this, but again, I don't think that there's any less safe or any more safety in excluding transgender people from those bathrooms. And in fact, the transgender teens that are forced into bathrooms or locker rooms where they don't identify can be the objects of ridicule and
I mean, they're
bullying.
going to be. I mean,
Yeah,
9 times out of 10, they're going to, unless they just really decide or are capable of suppressing it, which in most
that
cases
age,
they're not able to
right?
suppress that because it's not even a conscious thing for them to behave more, if you're a male, to behave more effeminately. It's just part of your makeup. That's how you're built.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe in the future, like as society progresses, maybe they'll be, hey, Heavy, better at our children will be more accepting than they have been in the past, and I think that is the general trend. But I mean, right now, it's if you are a transgender person, you're going to be bullied by if you're a girl that sees themselves as a male, you're going to be probably bullied by girls, and if you're a male who sees him, I mean, born as a male, who sees himself as a female, you're going to be bullied by boys. So I don't think there's a way around that right now.
Yeah, well, I'm the only thing that I wish they might have done, or to approach it maybe in a little less aggressive manner, would be to push education on the issue and present the science and present uh, studies that support the actual decision that they've made, because I think that there is sound science behind it, and maybe people would have come around. I fear that doing it in the way that they've done it, like your description of strong arm, I think is probably accurate here. I mean, this is a kind of a power play, and I think it's likely to get people upset. I mean, clearly it's done that. I mean, I've seen people that even have had some, at least more open-mindedness towards some of the president's policies and things, get weird and freaked out about this particular move, and people just don't understand it. So I think a softer approach of providing information and education in order to move us in that direction might have been had better long-term results.
I think my only counter to that is that for some of the people who you're talking about when you say some people who are more open-minded, that maybe would be effective, but there's such a strong component of this is obviously going to be the religious people, and bringing more science to the table is not going to solve that problem, because they're going to be so quick to dismiss any kind of evidence when the Bible says this is wrong. So I mean, and we see that every time that science conflicts with the Bible, or I mean, not even the Bible necessarily, just whatever the zeitgeist of Christianity in this country happens to be at the moment, which often has nothing to do with the Bible. I mean, the Bible says absolutely nothing about global warming, but that doesn't matter because the Christian zeitgeist is currently that's not a possibility. So just
Can I ask a quick question? Well, of
No.
course I can. Why wouldn't I? Question number 1. How does Heavy Hauler grow such an epically cool beard? And number 2, can someone please explain to me what the term zeitgeist means? Because I've heard it a million times, but I still don't quite know what that means.
It's German for spirit of the times, or ghost of the times.
Which refers to what?
Just the mindset of like a cultural mindset, the
Ah,
the way that things are perceived, the kind of general. It's like the climate of people's views.
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
I
in
didn't know.
in answer to the other question, this is not epic. I have seen beards that make me jealous. Very serious. Yeah.
I was just seeing if you were paying attention.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wanted to come. I was listening to John. I wanted to come in, and could I back up just a moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Talk about the bathroom thing. Now, they passed the, gays can marry now. It's marriage. It's happening. It's all over the place. And when that happened, I was like, yes. 'Cause I'm gay, and I'm thinking. Now,
No.
personally, I don't think I would want to go through the marriage thing because I had a partner for about 11 years, and we had things set up so that we could take care of each other. Everything was, had will, power of attorney, all this stuff, and that worked for us. But as an option, being able to actually go into a legal marriage, I think it's pretty awesome. We have that option. It's not mandatory, but the option is there, and I thought that was just so fucking cool. Now this thing about the transgender bathrooms, I was like, okay, well that sounds good. And then somebody brought up something and said, well, what have people that are transgender, what have they been doing all these years? What restroom are they using? And that got me to thinking. Like, you can have some guy and he's all buff and everything, but he's transgender. His equipment is, he's not hanging, in other words. So, but he still goes in the men's restroom because of his outward appearance. Then you could have someone that looks like a woman, but they're hanging a bit or whatever. I know my language sucks, but
It works.
but their outward appearance is female, and they probably most likely go into the ladies' room and squat, whatever. And I'm thinking, it got me to thinking that, well, if this is the way they've been doing it, what's the issue? I'm kind of confused on this because, like I said, I am gay, but I have issue with some of this. They're making such a huge deal out of it. If they identify as a woman but look like me, I think they ought to keep going into the men's restroom. I mean, you kind of follow where I'm going with this. It's the outward appearance. And
Yeah.
and also, I live in North Carolina, by the way. So this has been a mess, in the news and stuff about what the governor did. And I was going somewhere with that one. I'm sorry. Let me back up. The school thing. Now that I'm not sure what to say about that because these are kids, and I just really don't know how to address that. But ordering that maybe a child that looks male but has to go into looks like a little boy has to go into the little girl's room. I don't know. I'm not sure what to say about that because they're children, and I hate that children that get put in a situation like that. But now grown-ups, that's a different story. Yeah. Well, that was kind of my thoughts on that. And then now, is it that the Christians are worried that the people that are transgender that go and use the ladies' room are going to molest the children, or is that just opening the door for some guy to put on a dress and go in?
Yes.
But they would do that anyway.
Yes.
If they wanted to, whether this is allowed or not, they would have done that anyway. And when all this mess started, my roommate said, "Oh, look at this," and he started showing me things he saved on the DVR, whatever you call it. And here are children being molested. And it's like school teachers and some people in church and stuff molesting kids. There's nothing about, this thing about if you're gay or transgender, you're a child molester. Oh, fuck it. Excuse me. Bullshit. But this is hate and fear mongering by certain groups of Christians, not all Christians. I don't want to lump them all together because they're not all the same. But there are certain groups that do this hate and fear mongering, trying to stir up all this mess. And several of y'all have been wanting to come in. I'm sorry, I rant sometimes.
It's all right.
No, you're exactly right.
Well, I like to say that Heavy. I, for one, knew that you were gay when you wore, because you used to come into the rooms and wear your bear hat, and if they didn't, people didn't know, kind of weren't in the know. That was kind of a dead giveaway. But
some are surprised to find out that I am.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was never really a topic worthy of bringing up, really, because it was, I mean. I see in California, funny. Let me tangent here for a second. I was at work and there were two people, and I was doing some filing or whatever, and this guy was a young guy, younger than me, probably. I think he's 28, and he has a son, and he is already expressing concerns how his son is a little different, because I already know this guy has a thing with homosexuals. Like he just against the whole thing, and to have to sit there in between these two people, and he was like, yeah, I just want to have that relationship with my son where we can talk about women, I guess, or whatever, and be manly together. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I really want to chop this guy right in the throat. You know what I mean? Because I just assumed that every generation after me, and every subsequent generation gets a little more, things are accepted a little more. When you wait outside a high school and driving home, and kids are getting out of school, you'll see lesbian or gay couples, 13, 14, 6, whatever. It's not numerous, but in their generation it's more accepted. You couldn't do that when I was in school, and I'm 39, right? And I'm sure you're, I'm guessing you're older than 39, Heavy, but it was unheard of. But as far as the Christians go, the reason I said yes to both is because depending on what groups of Christians you ask, I still run across people in my day-to-day life that sort of link, homosexuals to pedophilia and rapists and this and that, and it's not surprising to me, that this still occurs. You have to be real careful. They said you can't lump everybody in the same sort of boat, but that attitude is very much still prevalent. I do have, by the way, a real quick. I don't know if it'll work because the screen share sucks. Nope. Hold on a second. So this is the Title IX letter that was sent out. It takes a little time to find because what you find when you Google it are more of the articles. But it gives it pretty much breaks it down. You can find it with enough work. The terminology of what, gender identity, sex assigned at birth, and transgender, and then the compliance with it, safe environment. You have to use the proper pronouns, when you're dealing with gender identity. And it goes into the restrooms, locker rooms, athletics, that kind of thing. I think what they're going to get into some technical problems, I guess, is when a male that identifies as female wants to be on the girls' softball team or something. I can, what I mean? I can see people complaining about that.
Yeah. Some of the issues that depending on the person, what they look like, and what their equipment or this or that, or their gender identity, it can get complicated, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I was going to add one thing though. Now, I was talking about where a lot of people lump gays and pedophiles in one group, saying that, well, if you're gay, you're a pedophile. And I'm like, no, this is wrong. But now, knowing people, it would not surprise me that there are some people out there that are gay, that are pedophiles. I just wanted to say that, like saying, well, no gays are pedophiles. That could very well happen.
Sure.
Hey,
I think for a lot of Christians, not all Christians, but it's not even necessarily like they think that all gay people are pedophiles, but that they see it all as sin, and then in some way being kind of irrelevant that there is a distinction, I think.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about this just recently, and that they had a very that's a grandparent. They have grandkids, and they are worried about their grandkids, and it said that when like say if his granddaughter is going to a restroom, he's going to be there at the door, and in a way I do not disagree with that, because if you're a parent or a grandparent, whatever, and you're responsible for a child, you need to watch out for that child, best way you can. So when he says he stands by the bathroom door, okay, I can go along with that, because if I had kids or grandkids, I would be very, very concerned about their safety, anywhere,
Yeah.
especially in something like that. Yeah.
So this is the story.
I couldn't fault him for that. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Gabby, this is the link that you posted. Is this what you guys were referring to earlier?
Yes. Yeah. So the waiter at this Mexican restaurant here in Arkansas sexually assaulted a 7-year-old girl, and he was not transgender. He was just a worker in the restaurant. He just, I guess, maybe he was kind of keeping an eye on the restroom to see if any potential victims would go in unattended, and they followed in right after this little girl and raped her in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, the people who are opposed to transgender people being able to use the bathroom act like there has been up to this point some sort of like magical barrier preventing males from entering a woman's bathroom and assaulting people, and that's never been the case. So this really doesn't change anything as far as that.
Yeah, what was the date on that article? I can't, for whatever reason, I can't pull up almost any websites.
2011.
Yeah, so it was quite a while ago before any of this, was on the national radar as far as transgender bathrooms and things like that.
I assume if you Google enough, like this sort of thing, you can Google it. I'm sure a billion of these articles will come up on some level. I mean, it's not, like you said, it's not anything new. But yeah. So I don't know what the it is a very complicated subject. I even go when I go into like a department store like Target. I'm not sure if you guys have Target where you're at, but okay. But even then, you go. There's like a male restroom, a female restroom, and there's like the restroom with the baby changing station, which is like some sort of third restroom. I've seen that. That's out here because I remember they used to have only those fold-out baby changing stations in the women's restroom. Yeah, and it was a few years ago, right? It was a big hoobaloo. Some guys like, hey, I'm a single dad. I need to change my kid. This is discrimination. So now they have like a third restroom, or they'll have it in the men's restroom as well. So I don't know if they're going to if the best solution, I don't know, is it like you said, heavy with the outward appearance, or is it, But have you guys seen the videos of the Christian guys that are like raiding the Targets?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had heard about it, but I hadn't seen them.
Then yeah, it's those weird guys with the megaphones. They're like, that stand out at events with the big signs, I think, and they're like, Jesus or whatever, Jesus or burn in hell forever or some shit like that.
The one I saw, the guy didn't have a megaphone, but yeah, he.
Oh yeah.
Just,
no, I mean, it's
that type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically. Yeah, it's probably.
Women bathrooms. I just can't believe that Target will allow men to walk into a woman's bathroom. I just can't believe that Target would allow men to walk into a woman's bathroom? What an open door for perverts and sickos. I wonder if the management would allow their 9-year-old daughter to be in a bathroom with a man walking into it. Wicked, wicked, wicked. Go, Judge Target.
God will judge Target.
A little drive-by preaching there.
Right. Yeah.
God,
And
God stops at Walmart in protest.
and none of those guys ever sticks around long enough until the cops get there. Like, if you want to do civil disobedience and protest, have the balls to get arrested for it.
Well, you know what's funny? The first couple of videos, there's one video where the guy was like in the back where like the electronics are, and they walked him out. Each of the guys got kicked out or escorted out. He started in the front, so he can just do like this drive-by in a sort of, fire and brimstone thing and walk right out. Although, I gotta say, I wonder where they get these shirts made up. You know what I mean? Like, if you're the printing guy, and the dude goes, I need Jesus saves on the front, and he's got, like, repent or burn and fear God. You just suck it up and go, it's a shirt order, It's like...
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they got it through some sort of Christian organization.
Yeah, Pat Robertson probably has his own printing shop, T-shirts and all kinds of stuff.
Jackass neon tees.
I mean,
but you see, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm curious about the actual effect of these guys, because in the video that I watched, it wasn't that one, but like, you had a whole bunch of people just like telling the guy, get out of here, go away, nobody wants you here, like, which I thought was really encouraging, that this guy, is trying to stand up for his bullshit, and other people are like, no, we don't want your bullshit.
Yeah, see, these certain Christians will take something that comes up, like the gay marriage thing. There was all this stuff about, well, they're going to tell churches that pastors have to marry same-sex couples. And I'm like, no, we have a thing called separation of church, state. State stays out of the church. State or government cannot tell a preacher who he can and cannot marry. I mean, I believe that's the way it works, and I think that's the way it should be. A pastor or preacher has the right to deny marriage to whoever he might. It could be 2 guys, 2 girls, or it could be a straight couple. A straight couple may come in to be married, and he might know them and know there's some issues going on or something, or he has doubts about this, and he can deny them being married. But that thing that woman in the government office, whatever her name was, I keep forgetting her name, they put her in jail or something where she was telling people to refuse to give licenses in from any government building to people that were same-sex couples. That was wrong, because she was in a government building. It wasn't in a church. But they will take things like this and blow it so out of proportion and stack all this other baggage on top of it, like the bathroom thing, like what that guy was doing. They blow it all out of proportion.
Kim Davis was the clerk in Kentucky that denied people.
Yeah, she weren't too bright.
I was gonna go with Bitchy McBitcherson, but
that's her nickname. That's not her. That wasn't her birth name.
That wasn't her birth name. Okay, that's her transgender name.
And she was married, had remarried 2 or 3 times, right? I mean,
yeah, something like that.
She was.
So you could say she was guilty of adultery.
Right.
Sorry, I interrupted.
I gotta say, it was kind of impressive she can find 3 guys to marry her. I mean, she's not exactly Angelina Jolie, you know what I mean? I'm just saying. She's no Scarlett Johansson, you know what I mean? So, it proves my theory that, I have a theory, just bear with me with this one, that the ugliest person ever in existence has to be a man. And this is how I know this, because no matter how ugly a woman is, she will always find a guy to fuck her. On some level, there's always a guy. That's just my theory.
That's the heathen theory.
Well,
that's the heathen theory.
Yeah, it's all the girls get prettier, the clothing down.
I'm just saying, guys are, it doesn't take much for guys. All right, so we talked Target, we talked transgender. We got some gay stuff in there for Heavy. By the way, we do miss you, Heavy. We do. Where have you been? There you go. You know, yeah. Just as a you're an elder statesman, we'll say.
Well, I don't
How
know
did
about
you
that when I'm 62.
did you how did you grow up in North Carolina?
Yeah, I was born here.
The whole life?
Yeah.
How were things with the with being gay in North Carolina, like growing up?
I think when I was a kid, I might have got called some names or something, but knowing that, I mean, I was never like beaten up on or anything really serious. You know, I think in a lot of ways I was very fortunate because things could have been a whole lot worse, and also I think because of I mean, just how I am, the way I talk, and the way I look, and stuff. You know, it's not. Now, to another person that is gay or someone that's been around gays a lot, you know, they would go, "Oh yeah, he's gay," you know, because maybe it's the way I talk a little bit or the way I might move sometimes. But on the whole, no, I've not really had any problems. Really.
Am I still echoing, by the way?
It's when other people talk. Yes.
I'm stuck on that thing where I just see my face every time someone else speaks. How do I get rid of that shit?
Are you still white boxed on your icon?
I don't know.
Okay, well, you're not echoing currently.
Okay.
Yeah, I see the avatars changing whenever somebody.
I don't. Oh, I don't. I just get my pretty
Smiley face.
my smiley face. Right. Exactly.
Smirk.
You know, it's fuck. I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind. So what do you? No, I kind of assumed, like, when I first met you, that you may be gay, but I wasn't sure. You know what I mean? And that was just because you like Power Rangers. But I know that was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke.
No, that was a sweeping statement.
No, it was a joke. Oh, Yves. Okay. No, I don't know if I told this story, but did I tell you about the story that I was marking my nails with markers when I was a little kid? And okay, so I used to when I was in 3rd and 4th grade, I used to have this neighbor girl that I used to play with all the time. And we used to, like, you know, in your 3rd grade, you draw and you know, whatever, with markers and crayons and shit like that. So we had this great idea to, like, you know, take the markers and we can draw stuff on our nails, like sun, you know, like, you know what I mean, like smiley faces and suns, and the markers you can just rub them right with your finger and they would wash right off, right? So they're not, you know. And I had, you know, no clue. You know, you're a kid, you know, at least, you know. And one day we would play together every single day for forever, for as long as I can remember. Oh, you know, in that grade anyway. And I went over to her house one day, and her dad is like, can so-and-so come out and play? And he's like, no, you can't play with her anymore. And I was like, why? You know, I didn't understand it, you know. And I didn't realize till years later that we were in his garage, and we showed him, you know, hey, look at our nails. We had, like, rainbows and suns and you know, animals and stuff. And it took me, like, years later the look on his face was, like, pure, like, confusion and anger. You know what I mean? And I think he assumed that I may be, like, a budding young gay man, and, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't just kind of chalk up to, like, kids being kids, like drawing, you know. But he would not allow me to play with her after that. And I'd never, you know, and she was on my street, but I'd never see her come out and play anymore. It was always just me and the other neighbor guys, you know, the other neighbor kids. And I didn't realize that's, like, I mean, I'm talking, I was an adult, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, that guy's an asshole. You know?
Well, so fun, that's that little stereotype thing. Like, see, I don't fit the stereotype of what a lot of people consider gay.
Right.
Definitely. I do not have any Barbra Streisand records. I hate musicals. I can't even interior decorate for shit. So, you know, so I failed to get that part of the gay thing. But there are guys, straight men, and they act effeminate. They have effeminate, the way they talk, the way they move, and stuff. But they're straight. I mean, they have kids, grandkids, and great grandkids, or whatever. You know, it's just the mannerisms. You know,
right.
so You know, someone see someone like that and think, "Oh, yeah, they're gay as a goose." No, you better keep your daughters, your older daughters and your wife away from this man. But you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
not everyone fits a stereotype of whatever group you want to mention.
Yeah, and it's funny having that. I had a conversation with that guy at work who was. We're talking about another coworker. There's another coworker who would fit the kind of homophobic militia gun owner type situation, and that's when he first sort of leaned over and he goes, well, I kind of agree with that guy or whatever. And I told him, I'm like, I think if I tally all my friends, right, like I don't organize my friends between gay and straight. I don't really think about it, right? But I did when he said that, I did sort of think about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure a minimum of 1/3 of my friends are either gay or lesbian, and especially in California, right? Like I don't think about it, but I did at that instance. I took a tally, and I was like, dude, you're barking up the wrong tree with this one, dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I mean, just. It's a non-factor for me.
It's something you don't think about. Like, this is kind of an example. One job I had years ago. One day I realized I'm the token honky. All the other guys I worked with were black. I said that one day, and they fell out. But it wasn't an issue, just because I was the only white guy in this group of black guys. Never thought of that. It never dawned on me. And then one day it did, and I got a good laugh out of it. And the kids nowadays are so much more accepting. It's like, oh, well, so-and-so, did you know so-and-so has 2 dads? And the kid might go, oh, that is so cool, or 2 moms or something, It's not an issue with them, a lot of them nowadays.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, it's kind of funny because, like, I have a friend who, one of my friends that I game with, who's gay. It's funny. We were driving down the street and we saw a mutual friend, and he rolled down his window. This guy, he's straight, but he wore the tightest fucking pants like you've ever seen in your life. Like, he constantly wore skinny jeans, and he was like 90 pounds. And so my friend, he rolled down his window and he goes, "Fag!" And he like hit the gas. And it was like the funniest fucking thing. But I guess things are different in California. You know what I mean? But like, it's, sometimes, you have certain friends that like vagina and certain friends that like dick, and sometimes those friends are the same gender. So, like, I don't know, it's such a non-factor for me. It's, it's funny, actually. We were sitting there about to game, and I said to one of the other guys in our group, who's straight, and he goes, I'm like, dude, you suck dick, and then my gay friend comes out and he goes, it's not that bad, actually. We're like, holy shit, dude. It's pretty funny. Am I too loud, or am I still echoing? Shit.
Testing, are you echoing?
Yeah.
I apologize. But anyway.
But straight guys, there were some straight guys like that I've worked around. And, even though they didn't know at the time that I was gay or anything, they would cut up and cat and carry on. It's just a thing that guys do, just to be silly or stupid or poke fun at something. And I wasn't offended or anything. It was just something we do from the hell out of it.
Right. It's another weird misconception, that I've noticed with straight guys or homophobes, I say at the back, is they assume that every gay guy wants to fuck him in the ass for some reason. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, at least half the gay guys I know aren't into that. However, I look at them. I remember having this conversation with this guy, and I go, just because they're gay doesn't mean they don't have standards. I mean, they can fucking see you. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean
I could see 50 men together, and I might see like 2 I might want to get with. I would enjoy spending some time with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
if they.
I'm probably more into that with a chick than they are with a dude. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's a topic for a different discussion. That's Heretical Weekends by night. Anyway.
So fossils.
Anyway, yes, moving on.
Now, for sexual deviance, number 33. All right, are you going to stick around for our fossil talk?
Oh, dude, yeah. I think dinosaurs are the coolest
All right.
thing since sliced bread. You know?
So we're going to move on from
dinosaurs.
anal sex to fossils. Gabby, I segue like a motherfucker. So this was a video that Gavin guy posted in our little group chat dealy. And the synopsis is this guy's a creationist, and there was a PBS documentary regarding a fossil that they found, and they were describing how the hip bone didn't quite fit with the leg bone, I think it was, right? Because the hip bone part was crushed or something.
Yeah.
And whoever was studying this assumed that it was stepped on by a deer or another large animal, so they filed or sawed the fossil to the right shape so they can sort of. This was Lucy, by the way, because there was some discrepancy about how the leg bone fit with the hip bone. It couldn't be some sort of.
It was a hip bone. It was up near the top, I think, with the crest on the outside. I forget the name of it.
Right.
One side had been the fossilization, or maybe before it was fossilized, it was broke or something.
So this guy shows this video, and everyone's laughing. He's laughing, and I'm going to play a little bit of it for you guys, so you guys can know what I'm talking about. But essentially, it sounds like he's discovering something special. Like, oh, the jig is up.
They did speculate in the program as to exactly who was responsible for breaking the hip, and current scientific evidence suggests perhaps a deer.
Can't hear it.
What happened?
You muted yourself.
This has caused the two bones, in fact, to fit.
Let's see bone. The deer stepped on it. Here you can see a deer foot stepping on the bone. Isn't that a bummer? Let's see where it goes from here.
This has caused the two bones, in fact, to fit together so well that they're in an anatomically impossible position.
The perfect fit was an illusion that made Lucy's hip bone seem to flare out like a chimp's. But all was not lost.
This is a power saw, friends. You may want to put your goggles on.
Lovejoy decided he could restore the pelvis to its natural shape. He didn't want to tamper with the original, so he made a copy in plaster.
Notice he's removing whole parts, not just cutting.
He cut the damaged pieces out and put them back together the way they were before Lucy died. It was a tricky job, but after taking the kink out of the pelvis, it all fit together perfectly, like a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle.
Look how perfect. You can read a newspaper through the hole.
As a result, the angle of the hip looks nothing like a chimp's, but a lot like ours.
All right, so that's a little of that. Gabby, you want to take this one?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I already said it at the beginning, but I was sent this video by a G+ person. We were in a discussion about evolution, and when I first saw the video, my first thought was, well, you know, who is this guy? The guy speaking his name is David Menton. Apparently, he's actually got some scientific credentials, but he's employed by Answers in Genesis, which I think is Ken Ham's. Isn't that Ken Ham's organization?
It's one of those.
It's one. Yeah, and it is affiliated with Ken Ham. I'm looking at a web page now, but he's studied anatomy and biology and has some degrees related to those fields of science. But I don't know how much do you want to how much do you want me to say about it right now?
Well, we're on the topic, so feel free.
Okay, so, but you know, he's showing this clip from a Nova special about Lucy, and I mean he's cutting it the clips. He's not allowing the clip to actually speak about what it is that they're doing, and he's mocking what they're doing. He doesn't provide, if he's studied anatomy and biology, either he can provide some insight into what it is he believes they're doing wrong, and this is what I responded to the person who sent this video to me. He's not telling us what he thinks they're doing wrong. He's not, providing any insight into what would be the proper procedure for examining these bones, and he's hinting that they're doing something dishonest or whatever in their research procedure, instead of providing, like I said, any kind of positive or even negative criticism. He's just mocking. So there's nothing there that gives any kind of information. It's just mockery is all it is. And from what I can tell, the bones that they found, the evidence, and David Menton in the video even suggests that, according to science, it looks like the bones were broken after she died, and the positioning of them was not the way that it would have been when she was alive. And so they've created a replica of the bones and are now trying to piece them back together in the way that they would fit, for the creature that was alive. That seems to make sense to me. And he mocks them using a power tool. Well, they were shaping the replica and trying to take off rough edges and things. I mean, this is how it's done, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I'm not a biologist, but go ahead.
I'll say the thing that's funny about that video is, science, as it were, is a pretty, for the most part, an honest field, and they didn't have to even include the part where they were of the hip bone or whatever, where it says, hey, it fits perfectly. However, the hip bone is damaged, and shaped. It appears that it fits that way. However, due to how the bone is damaged, this isn't correct. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They didn't even have to include that. But in the interest of kind of, I don't want to say full disclosure, but what amazes me about that video is the arrogance of the people that are in the audience and the guy up on stage, in that they think they have some sort of silver bullet. That's what it seems like,
Right.
Well, if I can play Christian advocate for a moment, I think if the shoe were on the other foot and we were watching a video of a Christian sawing up a bone that the original positioning of the bone, yeah, I'm getting some echo from you again, Ethan. If the original positioning of the bone made it backed up evolution, and a Christian, quote-unquote Christian scientist took the bone and then started sawing it apart and then put it back together in a way that fit, or made it look like evolution wasn't the case, however you want to phrase that. But I think that would be cause for mockery as well. Now, as Gavagai pointed out, we don't have the full context because it's just cut up in a way, the video is cut up in a way that just kind of makes it look as bad as possible.
Yeah, but the difference being, if the Christian scientist, quote unquote, in your example, was using proper scientific method, he would have a case. You know what I mean? Like, he'd have more of a case.
Well, I think also, if you had a scientist criticizing and looking at it, they would say, look, here's the way it actually is done. This is the proper methodology. This is why it's a problem what they're doing, because I've heard scientists go through those kinds of explanations, and they're really very thorough, and usually they can be technical, but they usually are able to put it into terms that most people can understand, because they have to be able to do that to communicate and publish things. And in this case, there's none of that. And that's, to me, one of the biggest tells that what's being proposed or presented is pseudoscience, because there's not this explanation of what should be the case. There's no prediction. There's no detailed explanation of the proper methodology. So that's completely wrong, and all of these people, because it goes along with what they want to believe, they're willing to just soak it up and say, oh, it's of course they're cheating and making things up and fabricating evidence and whatever. I mean, that's all what these people in this thread where that came from were trying to convince me of, and it's just not the case.
Now, you had mentioned the lady from Google Plus. Was it Joy Loves Jesus?
Joyce loves Jesus, I think, or Joyce believes in Jesus. Yeah.
I'm trying to find her. That's like, oh, Joyce believes in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she lives next to me. Oh my God, she lives not too far from me. She lives 30 minutes from me. Wow.
Ooh, you dot drop. Ooh, you bad boy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't say it. It has it on her freaking Google Plus profile.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
That's how I saw it.
Yeah. Could I add something to that about the hip?
Yeah.
All right. I need to find the resources so I can add citation to what I'm about to say. But if I recall correctly, they didn't destroy the original hip, right?
Right.
Okay. There was something. Well, like say if someone that knows anatomy and the bone structure and stuff like that, they see something like that, they can look at it and go, well, this is broken. This was not. I mean, if they see broken bones, they can kind of figure out in their head about how it's supposed to go. Okay, if I recall correctly, they actually did a scan of the bone, the original bone. I forget what they used to scan it with. Sorry, I apologize for that. But that way they could see the internal cracks, whatever detail of the bone itself, where it was cracked, how it was cracked, what it looked like, the shape and everything. I almost want to say they used a 3D printer and did a hip that way, but now I could be wrong. But when I notice in creationist claims about Lucy, they always go back to the very first specimen. They don't bother talking about all the dozens of other ones that have been found. They just drop that. They don't, say anything about that. And in the other specimens, here's hips, here's feet, knees, whatever. I'm sorry I don't have exact details or a link to give, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty close to being right on it. So they won't give you, like you said in that video, they won't give you all of the details. They will just sit there and show what they need to for their agenda and laugh and make jokes about it.
Yeah, I mean, even if they were correct, even if that guy was barking up the wrong tree and pulling apart this hip that he shouldn't be pulling apart, whatever the case, that still wouldn't cause evolution to be discredited. The only thing that would do is make us say, okay, well, her hip is more like an ape's than it is like a human's, so that adjusts where we should put her on the evolutionary tree. That's all it would do. It make us relook at how we perceive Lucy, not whether or not evolution is actually what brought her, brought us from her, or whatever the case.
Yeah, well, there's another guy, Jay Wing, who is very arrogant and obnoxious. Joyce believes in Jesus is not that way.
She seems like a sweet lady.
I think she really is. I mean, she seems very nice and has been very kind in exchanges going back and forth. Jay Wing is a jerk, and an arrogant jerk at that. But I've had a lot of exchanges back and forth with him. But anyway, one of the things that he was saying in this discussion was, oh well, they found, what he was talking about Lucy and saying they found half of her remains in one location and another half like a mile and a half away from there, and are trying to say that this is the same specimen is what he seemed to be getting at. He was kind of vague about it, and so I don't know what he was referencing or whatever, and I kept asking him for links. Please, if that was the case, if there were scientists who were saying we found, in one location half of a skeleton, and a mile and a half away from there was another skeleton, and it's part of the same specimen, that to me would be, dubious and worth looking into. But he never did produce any links or anything of that kind, and he kept bringing up all of these quotes from Darwin, saying, Darwin's supposedly saying that there was no evidence for evolution and things, and I kept asking him, well, do you have any links to the actual direct sources, or it was just all quotations on people's blogs and things like that, and there's no telling what's being said, or if quotations are completely taken out of context or whatever. I want to see the actual source that the quote was taken from, and then we'll look at what the quote says.
It doesn't even matter what Darwin said.
Right.
Who cares? He's not one of our prophets. He didn't write a holy book. We don't care. When he's right, and when he's wrong, and we can work with the parts that he got right, and we can ignore the parts that he got wrong, even if he did say something like that. So
Right.
it doesn't matter. Dawkins isn't a prophet. Sam Harris isn't a prophet. We can take what people say and take the good parts and leave the bad parts and keep moving forward. It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. Well, I probably could have pointed that out, but I was actually interested in knowing what the quote was and whether or not
Sure.
he even actually said it, because this J-Wing guy, he's the same one who a while back had taken a study from Duke University on was it nutrition in pregnant mice, and then the outcome that differences in their diet in the pregnant mothers had on the offspring, and the fact that the offspring had different color fur. He was taking that and saying that was evidence that the story in Genesis where Jacob has sticks in water where his livestock are breeding, and that the different kinds of sticks produced offspring that in some cases were spotted and in some cases striped and things. And so he was saying, well, this Duke University study proves the scientific validity of this story from Genesis, and it was completely the Duke study had nothing to do at all with the story or the content of the story. As the story reads in the Genesis account, it was just while the animals were copulating and mating that these sticks in the water, and it also made it look like that the animals' visual image of these sticks, being vertical stripes, kind of, were were causing the offspring to have stripes, and so that that had nothing to do with this Duke study whatsoever. And there's no scientific basis. There's no, even if that Duke study had done that, said that the mice looked at it. Well, what's the mechanism of action that's actually making it happen? There's the Duke study had an explanation. It was the nutrition that was causing the fur to change, and the malnutrition of some mice parents or mothers contributed to different physical attributes of the offspring, and that's not what was going on with these animals in the story. So he does that kind of thing all the time, is twisting and stretching things to try and make it fit to the Bible.
So what you're saying is he could possibly be full of shit.
Very, very likely. I think it's highly probable.
Welcome, Doc. How you doing? I want to know what. I want to know, quite frankly, does the doctor have frosted tips? Because on my camera, he has. It looks like he has frosted tips. And is that an evolutionary strain, perhaps? Is that some sort of mutation?
I have no frosted tips. No.
Okay, it's just the way the light's in here. I thought you were English for a second. Actually, I don't know why.
My first language is French, so that's incredibly depressing.
Okay. I mean, but I had this impression that you were going to come in with an English accent and you had frosted tips and stuff, and you should have been accompanied with some fat bass when you enter the room.
What?
But he looks like he has that. It looks like he's about to get ready to go out to the clubs. That's all I'm saying. So you just wanted to pop in. Heavy posted something regarding the Lucy thing. Did you want to touch on that, Heavy? And then Doc, you had something to say after that.
Well, I knew that they had found more specimens, and I was trying to track that down. I don't know if they have found, say, a single complete skeleton, but they've found a good bit. Let's see, 1975, they found in one site over 200 fossil specimens from at least 13 individuals, both adults and juveniles. And then there was, in 2000, they found about a 3-year-old one that was a female, which had almost the entire skull, torso, and most parts of the limbs. So there's not as many as I thought of Lucy, but there's more than just that one initial one that they found.
Right. All of those are specimens of Australopithecus, right?
Yeah, for instance, that's Lucy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Lucy was. Though.
Right. So they're different. They're different specimens. They're from different individuals, but they all belong to that same kind of species. Yeah.
See, that's the thing that they're really, really bad about is they will not give you all the information, like you said on that video. They will not tell you everything.
Yeah, well, and they'll take bits and pieces and do a tossed salad and try and mix it up. I mean, this guy was suggesting that they were finding specimens that were separate like that from more than a mile away from each other, and trying to suggest that they were saying it was the same individual. But it's not. I mean, just like we can find fossils of mammoths and mastodons, in various parts of the world, but there was more than one, and we know that. I mean, so to say, well, we found them in Russia and in North America, well, that doesn't mean that it's
the same one.
The same one, right?
Yeah. About the knee, I'm not sure about. They did find a knee, but they're not saying it was one that they found this knee way over there, and we're going to put that in with this other skeleton we found miles away. No, I think from what I understand, each fossil find is labeled and everything. So, okay, this is like A23 or something. and we may find a tooth over there, and that'd be A25 or something like that.
Right.
But they can use these different parts once they determine what they belong to reconstruct a fuller, representation of an individual.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because each find that they find is only going to be parts, so they have to kind of put them together as a puzzle to get an understanding of what the whole picture is.
Oh, yeah, and knowing anatomy, human anatomy or whatever, animals, whatever, having just bits and pieces of here and there, you can, what's that word, extrapolate, what the whole thing looked like.
Yeah, I mean that's what science does all the time. That's all. It's reasoning from inference. If it's this way over here, it makes sense. It probably was the same over here. Now,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we can make mistakes, but the more information that we have, and the more examples that we have of a given type of fossil, the better a picture we get.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to throw in real quick. It's kind of off on the side a little bit, but Linnaeus, he came up with, kingdom and species and all this stuff. The thing that we use now for the tree of life and all that.
Yeah.
He was studying animals, living animals, and comparing them or whatever similarities and differences. And he was already laying out the tree of life, common ancestry or descendants or whatever. And he put us in with the great apes. He was Christian, and he kept trying to find a way. Okay, how do I get humans out of this box? And he couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just studying living things, using morphology to study the bones and stuff, And they were determining relationships then. Then they started discovering fossils, and as those were being studied, and more finds are coming up, they look at the things and say, oh, well, this looks kind of like modern day horses, And so the more and more they find, the better picture they can get of ancestors, like of horses or dogs or humans or whatever, by comparative anatomy. Then DNA genetics comes along. They start testing DNA of humans, horses, dogs, cats, whatever, thousands of different things. And then they start looking at that and comparing the DNA and like say us and the great ape. The DNA starts matching up. Fossil record shows that we and apes are very similar as well. And the further back you go, the more similar human ancestors and other ape ancestors, they start looking more and more alike. So all these different areas of study, morphology and fossil record, what they determine from that, genetics, they pretty much match. Now, there were some problems, and they had to move certain groups of animals from here to over here and stuff. There were errors. But for the most part, all three of these different lines of study or whatever matched up.
Yeah, well, and that's the huge strength of evolution. I mean, there's all these different lines of evidence that all converge in the same point, and all point to the gradual evolution of species from simple forms to more complex forms and things, and I mean, you just look at it and
the big bugaboo, common ancestry.
Yeah. It's once you actually look at the evidence with any kind of open mind at all, it's a done deal. I mean, it happened.
And then there's other lines of evidence that pop up that help confirm what they already knew. It's like endogenous retroviruses, and I can't tell you exactly how that works, but I understand the concept. It's how they can determine relationship that way too.
Yeah.
I know just little bits and pieces here and there, but it's enough to show me that they're right. I understand it.
Well, even if you grant that evolution is false, the fact is Linnaeus came up with the taxonomic system 30 years before Darwin was born. Well, he died 30 years before Darwin was born. So Granted, evolution is false. Now watch the creationists try and explain how we are still classified as apes.
It's like a lot of them, as you know, in the community, they will do. Oh, but that's not evidence. That's not evidence. Here, let me show you this paper from Creation Institute.
We're not animals, and plants aren't alive.
But anyway.
Yeah, well, I like to ask them, well, how are we not apes? You know, what is it about us physiologically, genetically, or any other way that distinguishes us from apes? I mean, there's that meme where it shows the different cats and how, you know, the cats, you know, from a house cat to a tiger and a lion, whatever, that, you know, they share, what is it, something like 90% of their DNA, and we share
96 or 8%,
something, yeah, with chimpanzees, and look so much closer to chimpanzees than like a house cat does to a lion. You know, how can you possibly think that we are not related and don't have common ancestry?
Because
the
we
meme says something. The meme says something like Christians will believe, or something like that. Like will accept these are all cats,
right?
You know, but they won't accept, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. We're the same kind.
It's one of the better versions of Aaron Ra's videos. Was he asks how many cats were on Noah's Ark, and he goes into how you define what a cat is, how you define what a species is, and he brilliantly illustrates the problem with their pseudoscience baraminology, I think it's called, and laying out that there is absolutely no way that all of these could have come from one pair, or that you couldn't classify them all as the same kind.
Well, lucky for you guys, lucky for you, Doctor, Gava Guy's good friend J-Wing has done the math, as I see on his Google Plus page. It says the animals on Noah's Ark was never a problem, which grammatically that is already wrong. He says, I decided to rerun the numbers to do the actual described and cataloged species, forgetting the moment multiple species came from one kind, and you still have Noah's Ark rather empty. Contrary to popular belief, there are plenty of room for even large adolescent dinosaurs, of which 540 have been named. Oh, I would love to see them shovel T-Rex crap off the side of that boat. Take a look. Wait, what does the fuck to say? What is this guy, illiterate? Take a look. Supernatural, math genius, master planner, God definitely shows through. That is the sentence, by the way. Apparently God didn't grant him any sort of English skills. It says the reason people think it's impossible is because they assume. You know, let me fucking share this, because that way you guys can see what I'm talking about. It says the reason people think it's impossible is because they assume evolution's estimate of 8.7 million species assumed to exist between 26 and 12 million years ago as fact. The fact is we only can count on those found by scientists, many of which have become extinct but still cataloged. Again, the facts prove the Bible is 100% true. Now, if you see this, I don't understand how this corresponds to this, because this still says 60, you know, almost a little over 6,000 amphibians, 10,000 birds, you know, 5,400 mammals. You know, that's still a lot. Now, is he counting dinosaurs amongst reptiles?
Yeah, there are 500 comments on that post, many of which are me, probably.
400 of them.
Lest you atheist wonder if it's not possible or not.
But knowing that the ship wouldn't even be seaworthy.
Oh well, they don't count that. Don't doubt God's power, buddy.
That's what I want to see Ken Ham do with his Ark Park, is actually like see if they can get it floating on like a man-made lake. Just so that we can watch the whole thing just cave in on itself.
Yeah, you have one window. One window. You know that place was right. Who did all the showing to get all the poop and the pee and stuff out that one window?
Yeah, that's pretty.
There was only 40 days and 40 nights. They're fine.
No, they was on there a year.
Yeah,
brain-
the brain
The
lasted
was
40 days.
of brain, yeah. Fiona Robertson, awesome. Love that woman. She's amazing. Her and a bunch of us got together and we did a hangout called The Science of the Biblical Flood. If I put the link over there for anybody, if they haven't seen it, check it out. It's awesome and it's hilarious.
You're only allowed to promote this show, Heavy.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, we'll take a look.
But what other fossil things did y'all have in mind for looking at?
Well, I'm sorry. What was that?
What other fossil stuff do we have?
That was pretty much it. I know. Doctor came in. Did you have
Mentioned
something to say about
Tiktaalik?
Did you have something to say about the previous topic, Doctor?
Well, I was just wondering if you guys had already covered it or not.
Yeah, I just assumed that if you asked that you had something to say. That's all.
No.
Oh, well then, never mind. I was just kidding.
No, there has been a lot going around about Tiktaalik lately. Fossil that was found in like northern Canada.
Oh, are you Canadian?
Oh yeah.
Oh, get out of this room right now. No, I'm kidding.
How else could I be? How else could I have be native French and have this accent?
That's He's so polite. We just should have known.
Are you talking about the
How
footprint?
dare you say I'm polite?
I forgot you're French. Zinger!
Doctor,
That
are
would
you
be a
talking about
compliment
the
to
footprints that were found that were older than Tiktaalik?
Yeah, well, no, it's been brought up like in Ronnie's rooms and stuff like that, where evolutionary models predict where Tiktaalik would be found at what layer, and they try to sort of ad hoc fit those predictions into intelligent design.
Oh, give me a fucking break.
It is fun to watch.
What predictions have came out of this creation science thing or intelligent design?
Well, apparently
That
they
have been
predicted that
verifiable and
non-coding DNA would have some form of logical function.
Was that before DNA was discovered or something, or what? Was it
Well,
after?
non-coding DNA. This was like junk DNA. But the problem is they also predicted that it wouldn't have a function and it's compatible with either view. Like, intelligent design doesn't change irrespective of whatever the results are of any predictive models.
It's like they can pigeonhole in whatever. But the one thing I bring up, and I'm kind of incessant about it, and some people probably get tired of hearing me say it. If you do like a Google search of like evolution laboratories, research, stuff like that, you're going to come up with thousands of references from laboratories all over the world doing research based on the principles of evolution and doing actual research, stuff that comes out of this research because change over time actually works and happens. And then and products, valuable things are coming out of like new medicines, crops, things, there's all kind of stuff. And then if you go creation science research laboratories, whatever, you get some references to maybe the Institute for Creation Research where they have the word laboratory in there. They don't have anything. They don't have nothing to back them up.
They don't actually even have a laboratory.
No, it's all, yeah. And this is when I get hot when I think about this. It pisses me off that they're going to try and topple evolution and science and stuff with nothing more than criticisms, baseless assumptions, and stuff like that, and they have no real research to back them up. And it's crazy. And
I think
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the actual problem with a lot of the ID proponents on YouTube, especially, is that they have a fundamental misunderstanding on how science operates. I don't know how many times I've had to explain to somebody that observation doesn't necessarily mean see. If I walk into an elevator and there's no one there and it smells of fart, I can make the observation that it smells of fart.
Yeah, there's this really weird misconception that like observation means you have to see it with your own eyes in present tense. You know what I mean? Like a bird give birth to a frog. You know, that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, well, and it can also mean that, no human eye has to even see the thing. We can have instruments that detect these things. I mean,
Right.
we're doing all kinds of research right now where we are pointing telescopes into space, and computers are marking the data about what's being observed by and detected by the instruments themselves, and then we apply computers to sift through the data and detect wobble on stars that human eyes couldn't detect. So it's this observation can be very kind of removed from human direct human interaction, but we can use tools that are much more accurate and sensitive than our direct senses could ever be. So.
Word.
So
Right.
so evolution is a hoax. Okay.
Yeah, the whole. Is that the conclusion we came to?
In summary.
In summary, evolution is a hoax. But well, I think we reached the end of our show, gentlemen. We try to keep it at 2 hours. Does anybody have anything they want to promote? Heavy, Doctor? I don't know Doc all that well.
Science, it works.
Are we gonna?
Science and reason.
Is anybody going to be in a debate, in a hangout? Anyone have a
I might
webpage?
be in a debate. John Doe and I are trying to schedule a debate on the bodily rights argument and whether or not rights are inherent or assigned.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Abortion. Yep.
Run that one by me again.
What? Yeah.
John Doe and I are in disagreement over the bodily rights argument when it comes to the topic of abortion.
Oh, bodily rights. Okay. I misheard you.
And I don't think he understands the issue because I said that, even if we grant the fetus equal rights, there's a conflict of rights at that point, and you need to resolve that. And he responded by saying that rights are inherent and not assigned.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you get in these conversations with people and you're just like, I don't think you understand what I just said.
The worst that I've heard so far was Bina Berry. I don't know if you know who he is.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, he was in Antonio Fletcher's room a couple weeks ago, and he said he's not pro-abortion, he's pro-women's rights. And Antonio said, well, if you're pro-women's rights, then you must be pro-rape.
How the hell did we get that?
I don't know.
These leaps from one thing to another. Some of these people come up with. It's like, wow.
I need to put that on a T-shirt. That'd be good.
Well, and then those are the kinds of things that come out of left field that you're just like, let's explore this.
Yeah, no.
Because you can find out, like, Tommy has said some really crazy and horrible things.
He finally blocked me.
Did he go? Yeah, it doesn't take much sometimes, but you find out, well, man, you believe some really jacked up things.
Yeah, Tommy, when he'll post something or an article around that, and in general comments, he can be normal, but when he sends those private messages, holy shit, is he fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Like, he is fucking crazy.
If he private messages me, I don't know if he's hitting on me or not.
He's nuts. He's a crazy person. Like, it frightens me to think that he probably has a wife and kids, and he's around children at the parent-teacher meetings and stuff.
Well, he does have a wife and kids, and apparently his wife was on a daytime judge show once.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, suing a dog breeder for selling them a gay dog.
Come on.
Okay, we need a citation for that.
Yeah, I want to Snopes this.
I'll show you the link to it.
Well, one thing I hear some other people say when something like this comes up is that, well, you know, so-and-so, I mean, they're crazy. They're freaking insane. But then, like, maybe in private conversations or private hangouts, maybe one-on-one or something, if you're talking about other subjects, they're perfectly fine. But when you hit this one subject, like evolution or abortion, then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, Mr. Hyde comes out.
I want to find this gay dog thing.
I think we're all Googling the same thing.
Yeah, we're all silent because we're all trying to find the gay dog.
I never followed up on it. It was I can't remember who linked me to that originally, but it was a woman sued a dog breeder for selling her a gay dog, and you can actually, and it's like there's somebody who looks just like Tommy sitting like just in the front row, and she references him as her husband at one point during the clip.
I want to thank you for ruining my Sunday, because now I'm feverishly going to be looking for this for the next couple hours.
I keep coming up with this 66-year-old Nebraska woman who's all gay people.
That's
all
what I
them.
keep getting up. Yeah.
Also, pay up, heavy. Time to pay up.
God because her son is gay. I get that one. God was apparently represented by 3 priests.
Ken, we should just do a show where each of us brings like one ridiculous religious headline like that, like a really funny one. Wouldn't be too hard.
But how could we find such things?
Yes. Good luck with your debate. I always find it sort of humorous that, you know, a male like is arguing over, you know, something like that. You know, like he can't get raped and have a kid, you know what I mean? So for him to be like, yeah, you have to carry this kid to term, and
I typically refrain from the abortion discussions just because, you know, for me it's, from a legal perspective, it's a resolved issue. There are some philosophical issues like with punitive abortions and personhood and stuff like that I will engage in, but we actually this week throughout Saskatchewan have the Catholic diocese doing this thing called Celebrate Life Week, and they've started flying flags in front of all of the city halls with fetuses on them.
Nice.
So I have a fetus flag flying in front of City Hall right now.
Yay.
Oh,
And it looks like it was on to be Calvin and Hobbes.
That's weird.
There's an article from the Huffington Post that said a Tennessee dog owner sent his pet to be euthanized because he suspected the dog was gay.
That sounds like Tommy.
Fortunately, the pup was later adopted. You know, it's funny.
Nothing as any of those things could sound like Tommy.
Yes.
You know, you're right. But you know what's funny about dogs is male dogs do that out of dominance to other male dogs. I've heard people, you go to someone's house and they go, I've actually, you know, my job requires me to go into people's houses, and you know, there was a small dog, probably around the size of a Jack Russell, right? And he goes, "Oh, don't worry, you know, first of all, you always worry when someone says, hey, my dog doesn't bite, because that's the last thing you hear before you get. But he goes, oh, don't worry, the dog's not going to hurt you. He's gay." And I'm just like, how do we, like, what? You know, and from a customer service standpoint, you got to go, oh, heh, 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 you know, do your thing and just be gone. But, I mean, it's really awkward. I'm just like, so a gay dog won't bite me, and how would you know he's gay? And you know, how did you determine that? Because, you know,
right.
dogs mount each other out of dominance, right? They don't even, you know, but...
And what part of being gay means you're not capable of causing harm to someone else? I mean...
Right. He acts like...
We just have those limp wrists, naturally.
Yeah.
No, it's the bitch I'll call your eyes out.
You know, he acts like I'm gonna walk into his house and his dog's gonna go, so happy to see you, you know, like, oh, he's gay, you know, like
your dog is floating off the ground.
Right.
Your dog is in my house redecorating.
Can you at least put a pink scarf on it so I know?
No, you can actually tell if a dog is gay or not, and they do hump one another for dominance, and you know that.
Right.
But there are some dogs that there is a certain behavioral aspect about them where you can show that, yes, they are gay. And there's nothing wrong with that.
What do you call a dog that humps a pillow?
Uh-oh. What do you call it?
I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's a name for it.
Oh, darn. I thought there was a punchline.
I was about
Pick
to
one up. We'll say that it's Catholic or something.
Pillowsexual?
I think
well,
so.
my dog has humped everything, at least at some point. My other dog was humping my forearm while I was sleeping once, because she was like a year old and she just didn't know what was going on. So it was kind of like, you know, I was like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry, Smiley. You came in here just as we were wrapping up.
I don't know worries.
Oh, okay. I'm like, hey, oh, sorry, man. We're wrapping up. I don't know if you have anything to say, but Doc was just telling us that he's going to have a sort of an abortion type thing, and then, you know, and then
a little more clarification on that point.
It's a very civil way of describing pushing her down the stairs.
So, for those of you that just tuned in, the Doc is having an abortion. We always wondered about those Canadians. Now we know. But anyway, so I think that's pretty much it. Does anyone have anything else? We're here every 2 weeks. We'll be here in another 2 weeks. Feel free, guys, that are in here to come back in. Heavy Hauler is kind of like that old, that old Frosty the Snowman like TV show. Like he just pops in once a year and goes, "Woo, I'm here, hi," and then like he leaves for like another year and then comes back randomly.
Well,
Have you been?
I've been. Shoot, let me get this button right. No, I've been doing science a lot lately with Steve McRae and Fiona and Jade and Science of Sam.
Oh, okay.
We've been going. They've been going over a lot of stuff, and I've been kind of tagging along, picking up a little bit here and there.
We don't support education in this hangout, by the way.
Oh no.
We don't support formal education in this hangout. Hey, before we go, Doctor, what are you drinking?
Pilsner.
Oh, okay.
A.K.A. Moose Piss.
Okay, well, I was just curious. But anyway, guys, thanks for showing up. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.